Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Logic Bombs, a realm of pure logic. I'm glad there's the reminder every time, in case I forget what the game is. All right, what's going on here? This puzzle, yeah. So these two bombs can't be allowed to see each other, so the wall has to be in here somewhere. Can we do something similar down here? No. Wow, a lot of gems today, huh? One of the walls, at least, has to be here. Which means there's at most one wall in this area. Does that do anything? Not really. Um. At least one of the walls in this column has to be here or above. So at most one of these two is a wall? That doesn't seem very instructive. Okay. This is the wrong way to think about it. I should be, at least this time. Maybe it was a fine way to think about it, but it was sort of a dead end, I think. I should be finding, in this case, bombs or monsters that can only be addressed by one thing. This monster can only be reached by this bomb. Oh, also, this can't be allowed to blow up a gem, of course, which means it has to come down here. This 2 can only get one monster here, so it has to go that way, at least a little. This can't be allowed to blow up a gem either. I think those are the only bombs that can only... Oh, well, right. These are the only monsters that can only be serviced by one bomb, I think. But now there's a bomb that can only reach 2 monsters. But this 2 could pick up here or here, I think. Well, how could anyone deal with this monster except this bomb, right? This 2 can't reach that far. It would hit too many... It would hit illegal monsters on the way. So we have to do this. This column is done, and so is this one. And this row. Now I know this 2 has to get these 2 monsters. Now connectivity, this gem and this gem can't touch. Likewise, this gem and this gem can't touch. Here and here are also similar. Row's done. Column is done, and now these 2 can't touch. I'm sure there's something easy here. These 2 can't touch because they're separate gem areas. Now we've done a column. These can't touch. Now we've done a column. the wall in this row has to be one of these two, or else these would touch, so it can't be here. Oh, no, these are already touching. That's fine. There's only one more wall in this row, and it has to be one of these two to prevent a collision, so it's not here. There's 3 walls out of 4 in this column, but I don't know which ones for sure. Likewise, 3 out of 4 here, I guess. Oh, this row is done, rather. Now this column is done, and so is this one. This row is finished. One of these two has to be the wall in this column, so it's not this one, which means these can't be allowed to connect. Oh. What did I'm sure I miscounted something in the ending here. What's even wrong here? This row is wrong. Which column is wrong? This one. Can I just do this? Yeah. This is another diagonal puzzle, huh? It was for a little while. Is this going to be a picture? Am I making a frying pan or something? Columns are done. This one still isn't yet. I don't yet know which of these two gems goes left and which goes right, weirdly. I think these two 6s are what it's going to tell me. Yeah. Because... well, no. Yes, they are. I need to put 2 walls in these 4 cells. And they have to be in different columns. But they can't be in different rows, because if they were, I would have this, and this would be cut off. They have to be in the same row. They can't be here, because this is a 1. So they have to be here. Where to start? Well, the one wall can't be this one, or this 2 would not be happy. Okay. Not super helpful, I think. I still don't know where this goes. And every monster is reachable by at least 2 bombs. Oh, the gems can't touch, though. That's interesting. I guess. A little interesting, at least. Eight walls here? And there's already one non-wall marked, so of all of this, only one can be non-wall. It's interesting. Likewise here, only one remaining can be non-wall. Huh. I don't see how that's useful. It would make sense for this one to reach this guy, but that's not a proof. Could be a wall here, and then he reaches really far in some other direction, couldn't it? Actually, wait a minute. With 5 walls in this column, I can't fit them all down here, so this one cannot reach this guy. And he can only otherwise be reached by this 2. Okay. Can I do something similar somewhere else? Not really. Well, no, not quite here. I could fit all 4 walls here, which means this 2 would get both of these. Just barely. Well, now this 2 and this 2 only have 1 total explosion left between them, right? There's 1 each, so 2 total. So, like, they can no longer get all 4 of these like it looked like they could earlier. So one of those 3 must be served by a bomb out of this area. Actually, one of these 2 must be served by a different bomb, because this one is definitely served by one of these 2, right? No one else can reach. So one of these 2 is served by... At least one of these central 2 is served by someone else. Which could be one, could be you, could be you, could be you. Hard to say. Oh, I don't think I've had this kind of reasoning show up in a puzzle yet. This too can't touch this monster, because if it did, these two gems would be united, which is illegal. So it has to be these two that it gets. Nice. Actually, with only 4-3-3 in these three rows, it's sort of hard to keep these gems away from each other, isn't it? Worth noting, I guess. Ah, and of course, similarly, this too can't get this guy. Because it would unite these two gems. So this two is the only other one who could, because we know this one can't reach. Now this two has to get up here. So this has to be served by you, after all. As I said, it looked like that would be the easiest thing to do, but we couldn't prove it. Now we finally have. All right. Now connectivity. This 7 is done. This 8 is done. The bomb, the wall has to be one of these four, so the 2 doesn't get here, so it can't be any of these. There has to be at least one wall here, but I'm not sure that's too interesting. Ah, this column. There we go. That hasn't finished any rows. Although, like, what the hell? How do you keep these gems from touching? This is crazy. There's so few walls left to do it with. At least one of the walls. No, that's. There's at least one wall here. That much we can say for sure. Let's imagine they were both there. I guess then any of these walls would be sufficient to disconnect, so that wouldn't tell me much. But what if one of them weren't there? Let's say it were over here. We could still break these apart, so I don't think that really shows me anything. There's one wall in here, yeah, but not this row, man. I wish the game would tell me when there's a row ready to be cleared out. I waste so much time thinking about just like noticing the number. So this can't be the wall now, because then these would connect. Which does this column. This is done. Really? Okay. Well, this can't be allowed to touch here or the groups would join. Because this is already part of this group. So I now have to let all this go, which means these two are part of a different group. They have to be broken up. Okay, I guess that works. That cuts them off. I said it would be difficult, but it happened. As of course we knew it would, because the puzzle is solvable. Ta-da! That was a tricky puzzle. Let's finish off row 2. 8? Well, you can't fool me. These have got to go like that. Easy. Okay, but obviously that's not the hard part. So where do we start now? I guess the gems are pretty interesting, right? This gem must escape to touch either this monster or this monster. I don't think it can touch both, because the same thing is true of this guy, and then if he touched either one, there would be too much connectivity. So this is actually a wall, is it not? Because if it were open, this gem would be trapped. Yes, and same here. And that does the column. And we also know these groups of monsters can't be allowed to touch, because if they did, the gems would still have to would both have to touch the joined group, so we can put walls here. The two walls in this column can't be here or here, because they have to stop the two from blowing up anything else. Likewise here, we have to border this 2 on all sides inside of the middle of the puzzle. Oh, this column's been done for, been done for a while. But, okay, I guess these 5s are getting close to the breaking point. But I don't think they're there yet. Right, there's... It seems to me I could make the last non-wall in this area any one of these. I guess this one would be the most pressure, because it would actually link up this gem. So maybe there's some way I can prove that this is impossible. I remember, like, this kind of reminds me of Temetsi, or not quite Bohm because that was so much more abstract, but like for some reason I don't think this is the answer to this puzzle, but it has me thinking about like the combination of these two clues, like or here these two and this, like there can be at most there has to be a wall somewhere either here or one of these two. And that's affecting like the budgets of several of the column and row clues. I don't know. Now, yes, I think that's true. The central group also, of course, it can't touch any of these outer groups. That's not the part I was unsure about. But that means that there has to be a wall between these two, because if they were both open, they would connect. Putting a wall isn't sufficient to disconnect them, but it is necessary, and I need them to disconnect. So there has to be a wall here and a wall here, which means there aren't any here. And that finally does these outer rows. And now we know which way this goes. And this. Oh, and I can do the same thing here, right? These need a wall each, so there can't be any here. That should do these columns, I think. Yep. Okay, it has quickly collapsed once I caught the insight about how to disconnect this from the outer ring. We have that and that, right? All right, that is 2 rows. I guess I'll soldier on. Let's try to get through the 3rd row. Solve this puzzle to unlock the next row. Question marks! I'm not getting all the information anymore. Ooh, wait. Okay, I thought for a moment there was going to be nonogram styles where there's like disconnected segments, but no, this is just telling me the question marks extend all the way. Who knows why? Oh, question marks. Let's see. This one needs all that. This 2 needs all that. This can't go. That would be a problem for the 2. Okay, so far pretty easy. Just assign the monsters and the bombs. Yeah, easy puzzle. Didn't need information about any of those question marked rows and columns. Of course, they would have given it to me otherwise. So we're learning about question marks where they don't tell us everything. What are we doing here? This 3 needs to touch at least these 2 monsters. Because it can't get all 3 from either row or column. Nope, that was untrue. There's a 3 row marker, but this is a 2 bomb. I got those confused briefly. Only 1 wall in this whole column, huh? It can't be here, because then this 1 would see too many things. And in fact, this 1 still definitely sees one of these 2, no matter where the wall is. So it can't see here or over to this guy. So you must be getting in from there. And you, well, I can't say. Could be coming either way. Actually, let's see. This 2 and this 2 can't meet. And I was going to say that means they have to be a wall in between, but the wall could be here or here as well. In fact, it seems likely it's here because of this 8, but it's not a proof. But it can't be here. I think if this went here, we would have a problem, right? Because then this 2 would have to go all the way down here. I guess that would be fine. I was thinking, no, yeah, because we'd have to do this. And then these gems would be almost touching. Can I prove that they would actually touch? I'm not sure. I don't think I had any of that marked in. Yeah. Reaching here seems difficult, but not impossible. Could this 1 really reach all the way up here? Maybe. Ah, the 1 wall in this row has to separate these 2 gems, so it can't be around them at all. That's very helpful. Because it assigns several of the monsters. Oh, well, this has to be the wall in this column, which does the row. The wall remaining in this column must be one of these 2, because this would be impossible. So these can't be walls. And the wall in this column can't be this low because then there'd be a connection. So those have to be open. This 6, I mean, there's only one more non-wall, but don't really know where to put it. How about this 8? There's only one non-wall. Is there anywhere it'd be illegal to put it? I don't think so. Because right now, if I could, I would almost just want to fill the entire grid with walls, right? Everything is connected up almost, except this guy doesn't have anywhere to go. But if I like had this, which I don't, but suppose I did, then putting walls everywhere would be ideal for the connectivity puzzle, which means that the edge clues are there to tell me where walls are illegal. I shouldn't be looking at places, probably, where the edge clues are telling me I might have to place a wall. That's not very constraining. Having to place a non-wall is more constraining. So this one column, for example, yeah, what am I doing? These two have to be separate. Yeah, see? That's that cordoned off, and this as well. Interesting that these are going to have to be done strictly by connectivity, all of them. That's interesting. How is that possible? Because this is as constraining as this is, right? Oh, but no, it's right. Because if I do this, then this becomes forced. Or it would be a disconnected area. I see. So I think I could probably argue by uniqueness that this will be necessary. Because adding a non-wall here can never help with connectivity. Well, but equally this can't either, can it? Huh. How am I supposed to know anything about this area? It seems like no matter what's going on in the rest of the puzzle, making this all closed or all open would all be valid. Huh. Okay, anyway, here, this column's done, this column's done. This row is done. This row is done. Ah, of course! It's not valid to fill it in like this if it's already cordoned off by something going around it. That's why I have to fill it. I've never seen little monster labels on the sides here, I don't think. Well, that's certainly a big start. A lot of walls placed. So this gem obviously has to connect up to the right side somehow, despite all these 9s. So the non-wall has to be one of these two, right, in order to connect up. So we can say this much. And likewise here, it has to be one of these 4, so it can't be there. That gets us more information about this area. One of these 4 must be the non-wall. In this column, it could be, and no, it has to be this one. We've marked that already. Okay, that was pretty simple. This bomb can't be allowed over here or these gems would touch, so it has to get those two. And then we need walls in the column. Only one wall in each of these two columns? Doesn't it have to be all in this little area? Because they were like here, they'd connect up, right? So this little Tetris S piece needs to have both walls, I think. Yeah, that's true. So we can do this. This 2 has to go at least up there, so this 1 can't go that way. Oh, this 1 can't go there. That bomb's already claimed. So it has to go here. So who's getting... These two monsters, this 1 can only serve one of them, and so this one has to serve the other, which means neither of them is getting to this monster. It must be you. But you're already touching this gem, so this can't be allowed. Now what? This group has to get out to touch this group somehow. But at the moment, it seems like there's a lot of ways that could happen. At least these 3 are all possible. Can I tell more about... This still seems important. But I don't see what I can do with it at the moment. Like, this 6 is fairly constrained. There's only one more non-wall in the area. Oh. And it has to be one of these 3. Or this couldn't escape. So these are both walls. Okay, it was interesting. Good. This 4 needs 2 more walls, and it can't be both of these, so it has to be here. Oh, this 6 is done. Has been for some time. You gotta get out. And we finally have this column. One, two, three, four. There's only one non-wall in this column remaining. And that has to be how this escapes. So it must match with a non-wall over here. Well, no, this doesn't have to escape anymore. It's already touched a monster. For all I know, there's no connection. Although, wait, what? Oh, I don't think I've had this kind of deduction yet before. Where does this gem get to? It has to find a monster. That's required. At least one monster in every zone. And if it goes over here to get this monster, it touches this gem. So it actually has to go over this way to get to this monster. That seems very difficult. What? Okay. I guess, well, that's the way to do it. Since it can't touch this group, and it has to get at least this far, it's got to do that. Now we can mark those off from each other. So we now know, in fact, this group doesn't escape. It stays over here. These can't touch. There's at least one wall here, but maybe more. Maybe both. I still don't know which group these monsters are part of, I don't think. They could be up here, although here seems easier. Ah, this column is done. And in fact, they are up here, not here. So this has to be cut off now. These can't touch. There. Let's try some more logic bombs. The wall in this row has to be in one of these three to stop blowing up the gem. So we can say this much is true. This bomb has to see one of these two monsters because there's only one wall. It sees exactly one of them. And I guess it's this one because you can't reach anywhere else. So you, therefore, must be getting in this way. You are over here. you are going up there. These two we're not sure about yet. Oh, we're about to find out, because there's only 4 spaces for walls in this row. So obviously it all has to connect up, but that doesn't seem like a very difficult thing to do yet. We have to think more about edge clues, I think. Also about the fact that there has to be a wall in here somewhere, stuff like that, right? We can't have a bomb shooting more monsters than it's allowed. But that doesn't seem like a difficult constraint right now. There's only one more non-wall in this column, and it can't be here, because if it were, we'd have this all cut off. So that's a wall. Oh, this whole row is all wall. So is this one. This is all walls. This has to be how we get in here. We have to get out to this side as well. Which does the column, and I guess this one must be done as well. This column is done. This has to get out, but it can't get to here. Finishes the column. This is now all connected up. I don't know. This is done, so we have to get in here. There's only one more non-wall in this column. It has to be one of these two, so these are all walls. Ah! This row is broken. How did I conclude this? Yes, that's why. Shoot. All right, let's try that again. I have no idea where I went wrong there. It's too impossible to backtrack. This has to touch one of these, so we can't touch this. This has to go, right, this has to come here, I remember. So it can't touch either of these. Means you have to get this way. You have to come from here. You have to come from here. You gotta go there. And we need walls there, so this happens. Okay, that was the rough start we had before. Oh yeah, we had this as well, because the wall has to be here. There's all these columns that are almost but not quite finished. We have to go. We have to get out this way. There we go. Right. And then this way. This 6 goes there. Gotta go this way. This 6 goes here. Gotta get out that way. There. This area is no longer broken. Like I said, don't know what wrong conclusion I had drawn before. But just going over it again, got it right. But now this is messed up. I can't get these in here without blowing up the gem. Okay, I must be doing something wrong here, obviously, because I'm getting contradictions. You must be from here. This is all true. You can't blow up the same monster twice. That's true. This can't be allowed to blow this up. So it has to go this way. You can't come from here. You gotta go there. So you've got to go there. You've got to go there. Now this 4 is done. Y'all got to go there. Seems pretty hard to argue with any of that. That finishes this row. Now this has to get down here to reach the monsters. Which needs a wall here to finish the column. So we have to get out like this. That finishes these columns. There's already 4 non-walls here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 non-walls here. So we have to get out. There's 6 non-walls, or 6, there's 4 non-walls, so we need all 6 walls. We have to get out, or in, I suppose. This has to get into this area, like so. This 6 is done. This 5 is done. This 4 is done. This has to go here. We have to fill this in. This column is busted. That's not allowed. Huh? I mean, I could skip this, but I want to know what I'm doing wrong. You must be killed by a bomb. The only one that's orthogonally in a direction from you is this one. You have already been killed and cannot be killed again. You must get to there. You must get there. Now, I remember normally I do this next, but how do I prove this? Why can't... It's because this too needs to find another monster. There we go. Now we can say all this, and this is all forced. Now this row is done. This gem has to get to these monsters. This column needs a wall. The wall has to go here. It can't go here. There's 4 non-walls. This is done. Ah! Okay, I see something wrong I've been doing at this step every time. I've concluded I have to get out to both sides, but that's not true. I could get out like this and get to both sides this way, or something like that. So this doesn't have to go both ways, it just has to go one way. Got it. It could go both ways, but every time I've tried that, I've led myself to a contradiction. So probably it only goes one way, unless that happened to be right by accident, and then I made another error afterwards. Okay, but that was an important deduction. The fact that it goes both ways was very helpful. Because it let me work on these 2 columns. What am I supposed to do if I can't work on those columns? Oh, whoops. I haven't even connected this up for some reason. Oh, that's why I knew I couldn't connect up before. This was blocked off. I do have to go both ways. Darn it. Okay, well, I guess that does this column. And this column. So we have to get out both ways again. This is full. So I have to get here. This is full, so I have to get here. This all seems unpleasantly familiar. Got it. I don't have to get out here. I could get out this way. Have I made that mistake before? Maybe that's something I did wrong. This row is done, so I have to do this. This column's done. Yeah, maybe coming out through here is something I did incorrectly every time previously. So this has to get out, which finishes this column. This row. This row's done. There we go. I got that wrong 3 times? I should probably go, huh? How long have I been doing these puzzles? A little over an hour. You know what? Let's go. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.